Hi everyone. Je vous rejoins depuis l'île de Terre-Neuve, la terre ancestrale des peuples Mi'kmaq et Beothuk. Merci Vic pour cette introduction et pour tout le travail que tu fais chaque jour en tant que scientifique en chef et conseilleur scientifique en chef de AREN Canada. Bardish Chagger, Minister, thank you for being here. Welcome to Newfoundland, even if it is virtually. I know I promised you a visit out here, and it will happen very soon, thankfully. But thank you for your tireless efforts on behalf of youth and on behalf of underrepresented Canadians. We're going to be hearing from a lot of special guests today. We've got Kevin Nielsen, he's President and CEO of Eco Canada. Denise Amio, who's President and CEO of Colleges and Institutes Canada. Ricky Lee Watts, who is a Youth Program Manager from Indigenous Clean Energy. Kathy Abuso, who's President and CEO of Project Learning Tree Canada. And we'll be hearing from two youth who jump-started their careers because of this program. Chiquita Grubin and Haley Murray. Let me just say that it has been a tough 16 months, and that is an understatement, I know. But this pandemic has challenged all of us in so many different ways. It's changed everything, it seems, like from how we work, how we socialize, how we do press conferences, and everything in between. But we're coming out of it. Vaccines are here. You know, we're talking to our friends about when we're getting our second vaccination. Those vaccinations are coming, and they're going to keep coming every week. Canada is at the head of the pack. We are leading the world in first doses. We're first amongst the G7 in the share of the population that's vaccinated. We're first amongst the G20. We're first amongst countries over 1 million people in population. No matter how you cut it, Canada is leading the way. And it's because of Canadians. Their focus on what matters, their belief in science, their belief that vaccines work. From coast to coast to coast, we are rolling up our sleeves when it is our turn. So the light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter every day. But this past year has been particularly hard on underrepresented Canadians. Women, youth, Indigenous peoples, persons with disabilities, racialized Canadians, and the LGBTQ2 community. We need to build back better. We need to build back smarter, more inclusively, with opportunities for every one of us. Donc, c'est ça qu'on fait. Nous avons investi 575 millions de dollars l'automne dernier pour créer 400 000 emplois verts pour les jeunes. Des jeunes et des emplois verts. C'est ainsi que nous construisons un avenir énergétique propre. An Indigenous man in Nunavik working as a resource coordinator to protect and preserve the Arctic's wildlife and environment. A young woman designing solar panel installations. A person with disabilities hired as a climate action consultant on British Columbia's west coast. These are some of the green jobs Natural Resources Canada's Science and Technology Internship Program has made possible. It's created more than 2,300 jobs over the past 4 years alone, 2,300 opportunities for young people to develop valuable skills and jumpstart their careers, 2,300 opportunities for young people to build our low-emissions energy future. More than 50% of those jobs went to women. Almost 20% went to Indigenous people or people living in northern communities, or both. So this year, we're building on that success. We're tripling the funding. We're tripling the placements available. We're putting $44 million into the program to create 1,500 green jobs and training opportunities. Donc, si vous êtes un jeune Canadien ou une jeune Canadienne âgée de 15 à 30 ans, ceci est pour vous. Si vous êtes intéressé par une carrière dans les domaines de la science, de la technologie, de l'ingénierie, des mathématiques, de l'énergie, de l'exploitation minière, de la forestière ou des technologies propres, ceci est pour vous. Si vous êtes intéressé par la réduction des émissions, le développement des énergies propres et une économie verte, ceci est pour vous. Youth will specialize in everything from Indigenous knowledge and land use research to geothermal operations and geoscience research. They will design new wind energy systems, conduct energy audits on residential and commercial buildings, or monitor soil and vegetation during the reclamation phase of a mine. This is how we build a more equitable, diverse, and inclusive workforce. 80% of participants in this program land a full-time job following their placements. All of them gain essential skills and experience. And Canada gets strong leaders for a cleaner, more sustainable future. In Yellowknife, for example, a recent grad's working with the latest technology to test water quality in the Baker Creek watershed. His work monitors the impacts of area mines. In the words of their supervisor, they aren't just performing vital work, they're contributing to know-how and expertise in the North. Of course, an undertaking of this scale requires many hands. We have 11 different delivery organizations rolling out these internships from coast to coast to coast. You're going to hear from a few of them shortly. But I want to take this moment to thank all of them for creating the workforce of tomorrow, for providing over 1,500 young Canadians with what they need, an opportunity to keep at it, to combat climate change, to build a career for themselves, to build a clean future for all of us. Young people are the future. They are leading the way. We know that. They're leading the way in Canada. They're leading the way around the world. They are pushing us towards our common mission. Net zero emissions by 2050, a prosperous economy that continues to create good jobs, and a low-carbon future that leaves no one behind. I know that's a lot. I know that's ambitious. But that's what it is to be young, with imagination, with talent, with ambition to get us there. They will lead the way. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thanks, Vic.
Thank you, Minister O'Regan. This investment will go a long way to support employers and help youth gain the skills they need to succeed in today's ever-changing labor market. Et maintenant, je vous présente la honorable Bardish Chagger, la ministre de la Ministre de la Diversité et de la Inclusion et de la Jeunesse. Minister Chagger, over to you.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Pond. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. And thank you, Minister O'Regan, for all of your hard work on this great announcement. Thank you for never leaving anyone behind and always being very cognizant about the importance of equity and inclusion. It's an honor to be part of this announcement with you today, and it's truly an honor and a privilege to serve alongside you as part of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's cabinet. I am joining all of you today from Waterloo, Ontario, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Neutral people. We start our remarks with the land acknowledgement to remember the colonial context of the land on which we live today. This understanding is very important, especially as we face the dark truth that Indigenous communities have always known. We must acknowledge the shameful and destructive impact of residential schools and the innocent children that were taken away from their communities, from their families, and from their lands. These tragedies remind us that we must continue on the path of reconciliation to build a better future. It's about countering the systemic issues that we know exist. And part of this work includes intentionally supporting Indigenous and racialized youth and giving them the same economic opportunities that other young Canadians have. Comme le dit le Premier ministre Justin Trudeau, les jeunes sont non seulement les leaders de demain, mais aussi ceux d'aujourd'hui. Ils constituent l'une des plus grandes forces du Canada et l'une de nos plus importantes ressources. C'est pourquoi il est essentiel qu'ils aient toutes les chances égales ainsi que les outils, les ressources et le soutien dont ils et elles ont besoin pour réussir. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said, young people are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but they are the leaders of today. They are one of Canada's greatest strengths and one of our most important natural resources. That's why it's crucial that every youth in Canada have equal opportunities, as well as the tools and resources and support they need to succeed. These resources are critical for youth since young Canadians have been disproportionately impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Schools have been closed and the critical social connections that help youth grow and learn have been cut off. This also means that it is much harder to find work and to find leadership opportunities after graduation. And as Minister O'Regan said, building back better means building back more inclusively and more equitably, so that tomorrow's workforce doesn't just reflect Canada's diversity, but the full breadth of our abilities and potential. And that's why I'm thrilled to see these principles reflected in NRCan's work to create 1,500 green internship opportunities for youth in the natural resources sector this year. Additionally, the Science and Technology Internship Program promotes equity, diversity, and inclusion by setting a target of 50% participation from employment equity groups. Further, over the past 4 years of programming, more than half of all participants placed have been women, which is very welcome news since women only account for 24% in the natural resources sector. This program has also helped break down barriers for Indigenous and racialized youth, young Canadians with disabilities, and youth living in northern, rural, and remote communities, providing them with opportunities for employment in an extremely important field. Notre gouvernement veut aider les jeunes Canadiens à acquérir l'expérience dont ils ont besoin pour suivre leur passion et réaliser leurs rêves, et du même coup, façonner l'avenir du secteur des ressources naturelles du Canada. Our government wants to help young Canadians get the experience they need to pursue their passions and follow their dreams, while shaping the future of Canada's natural resources sector. I will end with a quote. What makes Canada special is not the belief that this is the best country in the world. It's the knowledge that we could be, and that we will keep working to build that country, because no challenge we face will be too great if we face it together. Because together, we can build a consciously more inclusive Canada, one that creates opportunities for all youth while protecting the planet we cherish for future generations, as well as for today's. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, Minister Chagger. Now, as I mentioned previously, we are joined by program partners that are on board this year to help us deliver on this excellent opportunity. So first, I'd like to start by welcoming to the virtual stage, Kevin Nilsson, the President and CEO of EcoCanada. Kevin, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Vic and ministers. As a national organization supporting Canada's environmental workforce, EcoCanada is pleased to partner with NRCan in delivering the Green Stick program. Canada's natural resource sector, despite some criticism, is actually a world leader when it comes to environmental commitments. The sector is very heavily regulated, and companies are mostly committed to sustainable operations. To achieve these commitments, a strong, competent workforce is needed. According to our own internal labour market research team, the environmental workforce supporting our natural resource sector is expected to grow by more than 11% to 2025. On top of that, retirement rates continue to pose a major challenge, with close to 30% of the current workforce set to retire by 2029. We anticipate further that by 2025, close to 70,000 new people will be needed in management and natural resources from both replacement and expansion demand. The Green Stick program is an excellent program to support individuals find meaningful environmental careers, and also support employers in the sector by offsetting some of the cost and risk of training and onboarding new staff in a time of economic challenges. Overall, this program is a great way to support economic recovery and ensure that our natural resource sector continues to improve its environmental footprint and meet its green commitments. We are very excited to be part of this initiative and have committed to take on the creation of more than 600 green natural resource jobs over the next 2 years. We have been involved with previous iterations of this program, and we've created more than 1,500 environmental jobs since 2017 to directly support the resource sector with placements in a variety of fields, such as environmental monitoring, impact assessment, testing and reporting, as well as reclamation and restoration of closed down production sites. These jobs span every province and territory, including people in rural, remote, and Indigenous communities. Overall, the past success rates of participants are well over 90% in terms of retaining employment after the funded placement is over. And the government investment is actually returned within the first year following the placement end by means of income tax, which makes this program quite unique. For EcoCanada, this program is a great mechanism to help us on our path to ensure Canada has an adequate supply of competent people to meet the current and future demand for environmental expertise. We use this program as a launch pad for new sector entrants and continue supporting workers and employers throughout their career life cycle. So I want to personally thank Minister O'Regan for a continued support and confidence in our ability to support this very worthwhile program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, I'd like to welcome and invite Denise Amiot, the President and CEO of Colleges and Institutes Canada. So Denise, the floor is yours.
Merci, Dr. Pant. So thank you, Minister O'Regan, for inviting us today to speak about the green jobs created through the Science and Technology Internship Program, Green Jobs, and share some of the impact we expect it to have in communities across Canada. It's also a pleasure to be here with you, Minister Chagger. I'm talking to you today from the unceded land of the Anishinaabe Algonquin people. Alors, grâce au financement du programme de stage en sciences et technologies Emploi vert, Collège et Institut Canada a déjà placé 400 stagiaires au sein d'une foule d'entreprises à travers le pays. Et nous sommes ravis d'avoir l'occasion de permettre à 75 jeunes Canadiens et Canadiennes supplémentaires d'en profiter à leur tour afin d'acquérir une expérience de travail concrète et pertinente. Ce nouveau financement nous permettra également de couvrir les coûts de formation pour des jeunes œuvrant dans le secteur des ressources naturelles. Colleges and institutes play a vital role in ensuring that all Canadians, including those most vulnerable, have access to the skills they need to build meaningful careers thanks to hands-on learning opportunities. They are also ideally placed to support Canadians and meet the needs of their communities. In fact, did you know that 95% of Canadians and 86% of Indigenous people live within 50 kilometers of a college campus? As you can see in my background, they are literally everywhere. Working with our college and institute network and with employers from across Canada, CICAN's Career Launcher program ensures all young Canadians, including post-secondary graduates, Indigenous youth, and youth living in northern, rural, and remote communities, gain meaningful and paid work experience. This helps them enter the workforce with confidence. It helps them to become more resilient in the face of disruption. And at the same time, it contributes to the prosperity and well-being of their communities. Among our participants, 97% of employers recommend this program, and 84% of interns have obtained employment or continued their education following their internship. Grâce à leur vaste présence au pays et leur expertise dans l'enseignement de compétences professionnelles, sans naturellement oublier leur capacité d'innovation en recherche appliquée pour les petites et moyennes entreprises, les collèges, les instituts de technologie et les cégeps du Canada sont idéalement placés pour soutenir la transition du Canada vers un avenir vert. Nous sommes fiers d'encourager les employeurs dans le secteur des ressources naturelles à créer des emplois verts tout en soutenant les jeunes prêts à se joindre au marché du travail. Depuis 2015, Lancement de carrière a financé près de 1800 stages, dont près de 1200 stages dans les secteurs environnementaux. Nous avons donc beaucoup d'expérience en la matière et nous sommes heureux de pouvoir continuer avec vous afin de créer un avenir plus vert tout en formant la main-d'œuvre de demain. Merci. Thank you. Miigwech.
Thank you very much. Now we have the pleasure of being joined by Ricky Lee Watts, the Youth Program Manager with Indigenous Clean Energy. Ricky, most welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vic. And thank you, everyone, for your remarks. Minister Seamus O'Regan for this Green Jobs launch. To Kevin and Denise for your words, and Kathy and Haley as well. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, as well as all of you here today in the audience. I'll first like to start by introducing myself in my language in Nuchonol. Uklama Amitla, Hu Pachasat Nuchonol Thought Histakshitla Suma As. My given name is Ricky Lee Watts, after my late father, and I'm here with Indigenous Clean Energy. With Indigenous Clean Energy, I started in November as Youth Program Manager to breathe life into an idea, which is an absolute honor in making this idea into a living reality. And looking at Indigenous Clean Energy is an independent, Indigenous governed, nonprofit organization, advancing broad sustainability by amplifying First Nation, Inuit, and Métis participation across the country, from coast to coast to coast. Our mission is to stimulate collaboration that empowers and facilitates leadership by and meaningful collaboration with Indigenous peoples in the transition to a clean energy future. And as part of Indigenous Clean Energy, Generation Power, our brand new program, we're bringing forward the perspectives of Indigenous youth, which are so very needed in looking at the clean energy economy, looking at values of interconnectedness, of respect, looking at positioning Indigenous youth with support of mentorship, of a cohort model of culture, and bringing these perspectives forward with connection to clean energy employers will lead to a brighter, equitable, and more sustainable future. In looking at green jobs itself, this is an incredible initiative considering our world right now and where we've been this past year and years past and what we would like to create in our future going forward in considerations of pandemic, socioeconomic disparities, of climate change. In looking at the world around us, this Green Jobs initiative is significant in looking at how we can meaningfully create impact towards a brighter future together. So it is an outstanding honor to be here with you all today, and I'm grateful to be leading Generation Power and grateful for the Green Jobs launch to Natural Resources Canada Science Technology Internship Program. And I share my thanks. Kleko. Chu.
Thank you, Ricky Lee. And now I have the pleasure of welcoming Kathy Abuso, the President and CEO of Project Learning Tree Canada. Kathy, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Pant. I'm joining you today from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe peoples. And I just want to thank everyone for being here with us virtually. Thank you to the co-panelists, many of which are partners. And thank you so much, Minister O'Regan and Minister Chagger, and to all the hardworking public servants within your departments who have made this support possible. Merci, Monsieur et Mesdames les ministres, et merci aux membres de vos départements pour cet appui important. We know that young people play an important role in shaping the future of Canada's economy. We heard Minister O'Regan talk about Canada rolling up their sleeves to get the vaccine. I'm also proud of Project Learning Tree Canada's team and how we're rolling up our sleeves every day to help create this and the next generation of future forest and conservation leaders. And we're doing that in collaboration with so many. We've already set an exceptional track record of supporting young people on their green career pathways and contributing to building a diverse, inclusive, and resilient workforce, which is so important, as we also heard from Minister Chagger today. Since 2018, we've placed young people in over 3,500 forest and conservation-based green jobs across 10 provinces and 2 territories. We've achieved gender balance in these placements. I'm also proud to say that 500 Indigenous youth out of those 3,500 were placed from over 80 Indigenous communities in forest, conservation, and nature-based green job experiences, and have also achieved gender diversity throughout. This has all been possible because of government funding and because of our network of hundreds and hundreds of employers and Indigenous communities that also provide employment within the SFI network. And this means that we're providing meaningful experiences to youth. So now, thanks to Natural Resources Canada's Green Job Science and Technology Internship Program, we're going to be able to provide more young people with valuable long-term internships that provide an important starting point for many of these young people with the goal of leading into a lifelong career within the forest sector. And we know that studies show that completing an internship boosts a young person's chances of getting a job by 16%. And these internships are longer than our past job experiences, which means more experience and hopefully the experience that will either inspire youth to continue with an educational path and will enable employment with the organization that they're interning with. In the true sense of partnership, we believe that cooperation of this kind can make all the difference as Canada seeks to implement nature-based climate solutions and reach net zero emissions by 2050, all while helping young people find high-quality, good green jobs. We also know that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission had action number 7, that called on the government to close the employment gap for Indigenous youth. And we are going to do our role, thanks to this funding, to help address that in a collaborative manner. And therefore, in keeping with our programming, these internships will be for all young people, but we will focus on ensuring diversity, equity, and inclusion. We will focus on at least half of these jobs being for women and youth facing barriers. And for those furthest from employment, including Indigenous youth, including those from communities of less than 5,000 people, and youth living with disabilities. And we're learning ourselves all the time how to be better in this, employ more and more youth from these communities so that we can do better with engaging the diversity of youth that are out there. We're also doing our part to really train employers and ask employers to be serious about diversity, equity, inclusion. If you're taking on these youth and these young people in these internships, we want to ensure that it's a welcoming and positive experience for them. And therefore, we're providing the training to set them up for success, because it isn't just a matter of placing these youth in these jobs. It's a matter of them feeling welcomed, being inspired, and wanting to continue in these jobs that are nature-based solutions in the forest and conservation sector. So PLT Canada is committed to building a diverse and resilient workforce, and we really want to include young people with diverse lived experiences in jobs that support healthy and sustainably managed forests, that can support climate change and resiliency, that can support fire awareness, species recovery, and jobs related to the government's commitment to plant 2 billion trees. Yes, we see these internships as a way to support that as well. We will be successful in these placements in large part thanks to our extensive forest and conservation networks and Indigenous networks and through the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. So if you're between the ages of 15 and 30 and you're listening in today and would like an internship where you can contribute to a more sustainable planet, please visit our website at pltcanada.org. If you are an employer interested in working with PLT Canada to improve your skills and support diverse young people in green job positions, please reach out to us to learn more as well, because together we can help to grow a diverse and resilient workforce, and as Minister Chagger said, a better Canada. So thank you again, Minister O'Regan and Minister Chagger, for your support and your confidence in us, in all of us, and our programming. PLT Canada has a reputation for delivering on all its objectives while remaining under budget, and we're looking forward to exceeding expectations on this project, as well as continuing to partner with the government on a variety of projects, whether that's carbon budget modeling or 2 billion trees. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Thank you, Kathy. These program partners and others are instrumental to the success of NRCan's program of connecting youth with employers across Canada. And on that note, we have the pleasure of hearing from 2 bright young minds firsthand about how the Green Jobs program helped them to jumpstart their careers last year. So first, I have the pleasure of welcoming Chukita Gruben, who secured an internship with the Joint Secretariat for the Inuvialuit Settlement Region through Eco Canada. Chiquita, the stage is yours.
Hi, thank you. Yes, my name is Chiquita Grubin. I'm currently in Inuvik and working as a junior resource coordinator. So since I have started, I have been working on social. It kind of froze, sorry. My internet's kind of unstable, so bear with me. But yes, so since I joined on, I had a lot of support from my manager. She has given me the skills to enable training and growth. With this certain file I'm on, there was like, I'm doing a mapping workshop right now to collect data on exactly and evaluate knowledge, traditional knowledge, and the taking a look at like the social changes that are taking place in the region and the environmental impacts with climate change and with the road opening, the Inuvik-Tutuk Highway. So there's a lot of activities happening and getting to work on behalf of the Invalid Final Agreement to protect and preserve the Arctic wildlife, environment, and biological productivity. It's been really neat. I've also been able to go on like field trips for Narcan and DFO to deploy moorings to look at the beluga habitat. And so I get to learn a lot from the scientists. I've attended presentations. I was able to go to ArcticNet, Coastal Zone Canada, and even though it's virtual due to COVID, I was able to assist. Like we were collaborating because they couldn't travel up north to conduct their research. So I was able to help, and they trained me how to do the recordings. So that's a little bit of the highlights of my job, of what I've been doing, as well as youth outreach. The Joint Secretariat has been getting more youth involved because we need future leaders in this department and to look after our animals and the environment, to keep respecting this pristine land. And so thank you, Eco Canada, very much for providing me this job. I am so grateful, and as well, thank you for having me today. And that's what I'll share briefly for myself, and I'll pass it on to the nice young lady.
Thank you. Thank you, Chiquita. And I'd like to now welcome to the stage Hayley Murray, who was able to secure an internship with Forest Ontario through Colleges and Institutes Canada. Hayley, over to you.
Thanks, Vic. I'll briefly touch on my experience. So my interest in environmental career really started when I was 16, working as one of the last Ontario Rangers at Killarney Provincial Park. I went on to complete a joint Bachelor of Science degree and diploma in ecological restoration at Trent University and Sir Sandford Fleming College. After being hired by Forest Ontario, I was extremely fortunate to move into a full-time role for my original internship. In my current role as the Forestry Operations Coordinator, I administer a large-scale afforestation program called the 50 Million Tree Program. This initiative focuses on all aspects of large-scale afforestation, from seed collection to survival and monitoring the trees post-planting. In 2021, we planted just over 2.8 million trees in Ontario alone. There are many positions in demand in the afforestation and forestry sector as a whole. Support from programs like the Career Launcher Natural Resource Internship is extremely beneficial, and I'd like to thank everyone for the experience.